Okay, it looks like we're live. Nothing's popping up. There we go. Okay, it looks like we're streaming. Cool. Let's see. Can we see that? Is that popping up at all? Maybe? Okay, we're good. It's just a little bit behind. That's fine. Anyway, so this is our part 2 of creating our D20 tracker. We didn't exactly get a lot done in the last one. Mostly just talked about what in the world I'm even trying to do here. So I'm hoping we can make some good progress and probably just finish this today. There's not really a lot to it, and that's kind of why I picked it as the first one. It's not a particularly difficult thing to make, so we'll kind of see where we go from here. But let's see. So we were going to head and try and figure out the percent difference here. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave that for now till a little bit later, get the rest of this working, and then maybe add that in later. But there was something I was thinking about, which was this right here. We get the count, and then we go to 10,000. And obviously it'd be pretty absurd to get to 10,000, but I want to go ahead and just change this around a little bit so that we change this to just CC. So we do get the circular reference error, and I'm trying to remember what I thought about to get rid of that. I don't actually know why this... Wouldn't that have already had a circular reference error then? We're just going to do that. Fix everything just like that. Just perfect. Everything is just fixed. This still sums everything. That's still based off that. Is it even counting properly? Yeah. And that's kind of like that. And we can... Can we do this? It's gotta be those stupid numbers. Always causing issues. See, how did I deal with this last time? Well, I guess it wasn't really an issue because it was all on the right side, or left side. There's no real, need to have it like this. Could present it a little bit differently. Well, we'll work on it. I was trying to do something really fancy because you'd have a count 3 right here because it's also including this one, and then subtract it by rows so that you could add rows in here and it would still stay the same, but it would also get rid of the issue of counting these. So just, I guess, to show what I mean by this. And maybe this is better for the rest of them, but you could do the count here minus, I think, would it be rows plus certain amount? No, that would just be silly. I could just do -1 and call it a day because that would count for the 2 rows here and this. The only problem is if you add text here, then it would be an issue, which is kind of what I wanted to avoid with the -1, just in case for whatever reason someone added text here or here. Well, text actually doesn't matter, so you'd have to be pretty specific that you'd want to add a number. So I could just do it count cc minus count whatever this is. And then that'll produce the correct result. And if we add lines in here, add our text, nothing changes because now it's subtracting this and this instead of just 1. So that fixes that issue. And because we dragged it down here, you can go ahead and insert more rows and do whatever you want. Again, a lot of what I want to do is just make sure that this is actually usable and flexible. Because I don't know what people are going to want in using something like this, or if anybody will even want to use something like this. I might be the only person that finds this particularly fun. But maybe I can solve this issue, because it is kind of annoying to have this sort of blank here. I think here I can actually show it off because I saved the other screen. I think I can do this and then make it visible. Yeah, so we can see here that I didn't have to run into this issue because it's just summing the whole column, and the column's over here. Rather, when we see it over here, oh, never mind, you still can't see it because I need to turn that off. Gonna have to get used to that. Over here, we're just using it to count, just like this. So as soon as a number goes in here, it reads it, and it's like, I want to count that. Even though it wouldn't actually count this. Like text doesn't care, but as soon as we put a number in, what? Am I going insane? Okay. Something's up here. Because this isn't actually a circular reference, from what I think. So we've got sum. It's summing this. That's fine. There's nothing wrong there. And then we got this one. This is not counting it, though. This would never count it. It's count if. So it's just going down the line. It also says this one, too. Of course, I don't usually try to compact stuff so much. Well, I guess if it's interacting with one and it thinks that's somehow causing a circular reference, it might do that. These are the kind of problems that I just stare and sit at, even though, again, it's more of a visual thing, but I do think, what? Of course. Yeah, that looks beautiful, doesn't it? Yeah, everybody loves the way that it sort of looks. Well, there's probably some simple solution. I mean, I could literally just make this the 10,000 thing, and I wouldn't have to worry about it ever again, and it would look okay. Or I could have it like in the center, or not here at all, or off to the right. There's a lot of different options, but I like to have stuff on the top left and then kind of just work my way over, and I gotta remember to eat the mic here because otherwise my voice doesn't come through at all, and I have not been paying attention to that. So we're gonna go ahead and just try to solve this anyway. I think I'm just gonna give up and do what would that be, 6? A6 to A1000. And drag it over, because that should work fine. And then we can put our total back here, and we can put this here, and delete this line. And anybody that reaches 10,000, well, you know, they can kind of just deal with it. It would take a little while to get there. I think I put 1,000 there by accident, so I guess it's good. I decided to click in. Okay, there we go. And of course, it's relatively easy to edit, which is also part of the niceties of having something that's a little bit more compact, but also, again, you can add extra people here if you really want to, and, you know, just start recording their information here just by dragging it over. Sorry about that. I'm back. Okay, so we have our information nice and condensed here. Probably want to wrap text that. I might be kicking myself for doing that later. We'll just call this outcome. That seems fine. And then we'll do our freeze panes. Should just add that to the toolbar. It's one of those ones I keep at work, but I have not really edited mine at home. Do kind of like it though. I kind of want one more here just to be in line. But again, there's no guarantee you would have just this many people. I'll do some coloring later. I don't know if I can do this. Oh yeah, I forget they changed it now. Okay. I'll probably color it up a little bit later, but I'm just kind of used to that gray look for my tables. Again, mostly just at work. This is how all of my stuff looks. It's easy, it's simple, it gets the point across. Doesn't really draw your attention, except kind of outline that it's a table. I don't really do creative work, it's more just auditing and whatnot, so a little bit more dull, the better in my opinion. And then we'll probably want this all percentages, except for this one. And we'll just do all numbers here, even though you can never have half a roll. I do like the little dash for the 0, I think it looks nice. And I guess it would be the same here, I didn't think about that. And the diamma. There we go. Everything's lined up quite nicely. Can make this a little bit smaller. Still probably hide this column here, but for now we'll keep it as is. So again, these would probably be whatever you decide to have this as. You know, anything. Personally though, again, I would recommend just like one number or one letter or something like that, just so that it's easy to type on this side. I probably wouldn't recommend a number though. That might still be kind of hard to remember. But we'll keep this here for now, just as reference for how this was done here, and maybe work on it later. But for now, we have all of our information. I guess maybe it might be good to add the damage stuff. I know I had that on my old one. I'm going to pull it up here on the side so that I can see it and you guys can't, because I'm already using up the whole screen here. I got to get used to that screen size for the 1920 by 1080p sort of look here. But anyway, let's see. It looks like I should still be able to have it in a line here. So this will be damage dealt damage taken. I don't think it's really too important the order on that one. I think taking damage and dealing damage, relatively similar. It feels like you always take more damage, I think, to be certain. But, you know, that's just the nature of D&D. So it shouldn't, again, and I know that's nitpicky, but again, if you're entering stuff and you gotta like you know, actually I think I'll move this stuff later on, maybe to the end, because this is more for formula's sake, not really for actual information. It's pretty obvious, especially if you're in the game, if you won or lost the roll. It's again for recording, so we'll probably move that out of the way. I gotta get used to setting down my drink here because it turns out to be really loud. So we have damage dealt, damage taken, and death. I think I want death in all caps. We can either do like a 0 or a 1. Well, actually, we'd probably want to just do a 1 or something like that. It doesn't actually matter. We could do like a count A, I think. So we'll have that. And then we could do a damage by player up here as well. But again, we want to have the ability to add players. And also, I guess, add something else here. So we might actually make it another row. So This will be totals. So total, we could do that. So this is like the main header, and then we'll have subheaders for further information. So let's see, let's go ahead and take out the lines for now. Do no borders, no fill. So I don't know why total isn't centered. And then we'll do like Control B, Control U. This will be roles. This is where I think sometimes a merge center is kind of nice, because it will center it with whatever you're having here, and it's not really affecting anything down here. Since I'm already on it, and I'll complain about it for a bit, this is the main complaint with merge cells, is that this happens when you just maybe want BB, but again, you can do that to just highlight BB, and it'll only affect these cells. And of course, the information is technically in A2, as we can see up here, so we're not affecting anything in A either, but we can just do that and just affect the cells as is. You know, or you know, I'd be saying, okay, that's fine and dandy, but you know, I want a conditional format, like just say just these right here. Well, you know, it's so simple just to do that. Hold Control, click the next one. Merge cells, I don't think they're that bad, and I think they can make things look a lot nicer when, you know, doing something like we write roles here, which is pretty close to the middle, and maybe we, like, I think right align it? No, left align it? Middle? Like basically, you can't get exactly what you want with putting it somewhere. Like, it won't align properly. Like, that's not exactly in the middle. You'd want it between these two, and you couldn't really get that easily, as it were. So I think in that regard, having merge cells can just be kind of helpful. And again, if you sort of see this, you can just click right in it and edit it from anywhere within this whole line. That's more for sentences, by the way. That, you know, if you write out a sentence, you know, this is a cat, or this is a dog, because that's what I could think about really quickly. I can't edit the sentence from here. I have to start all the way over here. And I just think that's really annoying when you could just merge cell left align, and now the entire thing is a sentence. And you can say, oh, well, I actually want to edit the period there. Okay, right there. Actually, I want to start kind of in the middle, and so you're right there. To me, that's just a little bit better. Granted, you know, if you're working with huge volumes of data, maybe it's not what you want to do, but I think having it here for, you know, like headers or something like that, I don't think there's really anything wrong with that, but my college professor would highly disagree. In fact, he decided that if we ever used merge cells and he saw it, he would fail us. A little extreme, but, you know, I guess we all have our own opinions on how things should be done. I just think he's wrong. If you're listening to that, I'm sorry, I just disagree with you. But anyway, so we have our roles, and then we'll have damage dealt. Well, I guess we can spell out damage, because if it's going to be all the way in the middle, who really cares? We'll do that. Make that a little bit smaller. Do we want it all caps? I guess that works. And then we'll go ahead. I guess DM damage is kind of weird, because they would deal the most damage, and in theory it would be directly proportional to the damage taken, unless of course it's like an NPC or something. But I mean, what do we really care about NPCs, right? So I think it's probably not super necessary, but I guess we could just do the reverse of damage taken as DM damage dealt, because they might want to know how much they're hurting everybody. But then again, that comes through with the damage taken stat, I guess you could say. So we'll just put it in anyway, just to have it there. I mean, if you want to add it in, it's just one of those things that should be relatively easy. So we would have equals, and this would be sum this time. It wouldn't be count like I was messing up last time. So we have sum if, rather. Sum if our criteria, or rather our range, is going to be AA, which we can do, right? I think that's what I was doing. No, we were doing the what was it, A6, A7? I guess in this case A7 to A10,000. 0, 0, 0, 0. And we'll want to go ahead and absolute reference that. Okay, comma. And our criteria is going to be that it becomes player 1. And it's not really necessary to do this, but might as well make it as proper as possible. And our sum range is going to be our F7 to... Shoot. What did I do wrong there? It's F7 to F10, 0, 0, 0, 0. So we'll do that. So in this case, we'll say that the player rolled a nat 20 because it was a good day, and we dealt 30 damage. Okay, and we're probably going to want these to be numbers. 30 damage. Okay, there we go. So we see that works. We can go ahead and just drag that over now. It should work out. If we go 10. And we forgot to lock our cells, which is always a fun thing to forget. Let's see here. Okay, now we got 10 damage, and player 4 did a measly 2. And we'll just check P3, just to be certain. Why did that count? I guess as long as you put it here, you're doing a roll. So we'll just fill it out. And 2. And then they're probably a mage, and it's annoying, and they did like 70 damage because it was a stupid spell. Okay, so that seems to be going all right. We'll change this to P1, even though we don't need to. I always just like to confirm that everything's working properly. Okay, so we got 100 damage there. So that's fine, we can keep that. We can do the exact same thing with our damage taken, and we can even just do that. Let's see, and we can just move it over. And change this to, is that right? 9, 10,000 to, that's fine. No one's going to notice that. So we drag it over, and everything's working properly. And we'll say, in this case, we took 5 damage. Okay. 30 damage because it's me, and I rolled a 1 or something. Okay, and last one, we do another 5, so it equals 10. Okay, cool. So we've got that working properly. It may seem like we're taking up like a lot of space here, but we are zoomed in 205%, so normally it would look something like that. So it's not really that much space being taken up. We could move these over, and it would just be kind of the exact same thing with the P1, P2, P3, but it might be nice just to have it all sort of like this. I might change it later. We'll kind of see on that one. So we'll get back to 205% here, though. And we'll be U. Okay, so it's got to be a little bit bigger there. Don't know why it did that. Can never figure out why. Sometimes the underline goes for the entire thing, and then like here, you know, it didn't do it. It just underlined the word. Don't know if that's because, you know, I do like that. Always frustrating. We could just give it individual outside borders there. And have the stats like that. And of course this one will be our alt equals, and it will be, I guess like that would be a little bit better. And we'll put an NA for the DM right now, just so that it's clear that this isn't summing anything from the DM side. It's just doing the player's total damage dealt. And then we'll have damage taken. Okay, and merge center that. I guess I could just have it as right here, and then we can save some lines. So I could do something like grab all of this. We'll go ahead and unmerge that. Move them over one. Okay. We'll deal with the circular reference BS in a second. And we'll move it over like this. So we got total for rolls, damage dealt, and damage taken. And then I have totals there, and we'll say, I guess, stat. And then we don't have to have these all caps. Rolls, damage taken, and whoops. There we go. And all this gets consolidated, which is, where did our rolls go? Okay, rolls are right here. Move that up. And then we have our damage dealt. And we might want to move this over one. And we'll worry about that in a second. So we can move that in. That still works out. Also, well, we don't want that one to be small. Can have it like that. Stat. We'll go ahead and get rid of our border here again. No border, but I want the gray there. Don't know why. We'll figure out in a second. Okay, it's because of that. How very annoying. This has come back to haunt us yet again. We'll worry about that in a minute, though, because it's more important that it looks nice. Okay, move that up, and we move this up. Did I add that here? Well, that's not right. Oh. Oops. Okay. That looks right. What is this? Damage taken. Took 1 damage. Player 4. Okay. So that's all accurate so far. Get rid of those stupid little borders. And that one. Okay. We're looking good. Go ahead and Control B that. Get another border on there, because I like my borders. And we gotta have deaths as well. Deaths. And we can, unfortunately, we can fix this. We do have the cool count formula there, but we'll just make it the same as all of them, starting at A9. Of course, we're going to reduce that immediately. Equals count A9. Oops, I mean B9. B9. I mean C9 to C10,000. Okay, DM roll 3 times, that works. Okay, And our DM, unfortunately, goes here for NA, and DM can't die, unfortunately. Okay. And we should be able to do something like this. And just drag it over. Alright. Well, we can just, once again, drag down, proper. Okay. And we don't need to highlight those. Those indented. Almost looks indented. I swear. This ticks me off to no end when there's a small difference there. It might look better if it's centered on this column and then it goes back. But I think for now, this is fine. It's compact. We saved a couple lines here. So we have a little bit more space to work with. And I think this would be all the stats that we can get, at least from just an initial roll, as it were. We have our rolls, we have our damage dealt, damage taken, we have the ability to grab the roll itself, as in what's the number. We can do it for the DM as well. And we just bought 2 columns there. We'll move this over, I think, so that it's in the back. And then we'll just move everything. I know there was an easier way to do that, but shoot. Sometimes just doing it manually. Shoot. Okay. Oh, we gotta fix P1. Nope. We gotta fix damage, I think. Yep. So damage here. Damage dealt. Damage taken. And deaths. Okay. And we can just drag it over. Let's see. 2 for damage. 2 rolls for player 1. Right. Damage dealt. 100. 10 for player 1. Okay, looks like everything's working properly. And you died. Oh yeah, I wanted to do a count A there, didn't I? Why is it a sum? I guess because you could put 1 here. I mean, technically it doesn't really matter because it should count it regardless. You can't die twice on the same turn, I don't think. You might be able to, it's D&D. So maybe it is better to keep it as a number, just in case, I guess. Though, there are plenty of ways to work around that. So we'll go ahead and keep that as is. Looks like we've got all of our information, and it actually lines up this time. So that's kind of cool. We'll go ahead and add our gray border. We'll make this one a thick border, just because maybe it's more important or something like that. Don't really use thick border too often. Sometimes just to sort of emphasize a point. And I've basically gotten rid of the entire thick border by putting that on there. But I think this is fine because it shows our information here in a presentable manner. It'll total it up. And now we have our enter. We still have plenty of room to play with if we really want to. And again, this is at 205%, so we can really take a long time to do the rest of this. So from here, we're going to go ahead and again, kind of put this off for now. We're going to go ahead and build the rest of it. It'll probably be helpful to have another window open so that we can see this information, because I think I'm going to move the rest of this to another tab. So we'll go ahead and call this the D20 input. We could just call it input, but it doesn't really matter. So we're going to go ahead and go to view again, and this time we're going to do a new window. And you can't actually see this, so I'm going to try something fancy here. I'm going to go back to this. Let's see. Turn that on. Okay, so it looks like both of these are on screen, which is what I want. Now we're gonna cut this in half, move this up. Do I have to move this to the other side? Can I do that? How do I move that? There we go. Okay, and it looks like everything... okay, it looks like it's gonna pop up properly. Go ahead, do that. Okay, that's lined up enough. It looks a little weird on my screen, but not too concerned about it. Should actually be able to move this down a little bit. Okay, good enough for now. So let's see. Have that information there. Go ahead and add our sheet 2, and we'll call this one sort of like a helper thing of sorts. It looks like my bitrate went horrible, which is okay. Not entirely sure what that means, in truth, but it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and leave it like this. I don't know what that means. Oh well. If it's a little blurry, I apologize. So we'll go ahead and get back into this. I think I'm just going to copy and paste what I have over here on my amounts for charts because the work is already done. Not that it is particularly difficult, and we're getting rid of that. But we do want this to be easy to use. So we've got this. We can just cut it in half. There we go. Okay, so these will represent the roll numbers. So if you roll a 1, 2, 3, and we'll have our players up here at the top. Once again, we got P1, and I think I can just P2, P3, and P4. So we've got that. We've got our grid, and we'll say equals count if. I think it's count ifs. Yeah, count ifs. So our criteria range is going to be first and foremost AA. We don't have to worry about circular references anymore. And then criteria 1 is that it matches this. We're going to go ahead and lock that in. And then we're going to go ahead and lock in the 1 here so that we can drag it down and across. That doesn't make sense. We're not going to lock anything in here, so we can drag it down and across. So let's see. First and foremost, we see that player 1 rolled twice, but none of these are 1s, and so we're not going to actually want that. So we're going to go ahead and put a comma here. Say our criteria 2 range is B. And this will be different for the DM, of course. Well, actually, we don't even need to do count ifs at that point. We just do count if, so that's a little bit easier. So we've got that, and our criteria 2 is going to be right here. And in this case, we actually want to lock in our A so that we can drag it over. And we don't want to drag it down, do we? We just want to drag that over. That's right. So I was correct. I was just being silly. So no one here has rolled a 1 yet, which is always nice. Player 4 didn't roll a 1. Did they? Something moved. Okay. Looks like I forgot to lock in this, which is pretty standard. Gotta love messing that kind of stuff up. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now if we drag this all the way down, should start seeing some numbers. Okay. We'll go ahead and make it a little bit easier to see what's going on there. So let's see, a 5. Okay, a 5 was rolled by player 2, that's fine. We've got a 9 by player 4, that's correct. And we've got a 15 and 20 for player 1. So everything's working as it's supposed to. I think last time, again, the graph is a little bit weird, so we'll probably have to separate this, but I mean, that's not too difficult. Okay, so we've got that working. Let's see, what else do I have here? I have the individual comparison For roles, we already have that here. And while it's not particularly necessary, it might be one of those things where it might be a stat we want to use later on, like how many roles have we done. So go ahead and do that. Of course, this would agree with our statistics on here, so we can actually verify those. Rather, it should agree. Let's see, so we have a total of 4 roles here, supposedly. Oh, because we forgot about the DM. Well, that would usually mess something up, I imagine. DM, and we'll just do a regular count if, and just to go ahead and get that done properly. So our range is going to be our DM range, which is this one, and we're going to lock it in just because if we don't, nothing bad's really going to happen, but might as well just keep it movable. And then our criteria is going to be this. Oh, this. No, this. I'm silly. And again, just to keep things, if it would ever just, there we go. Proper, we've got that. And we should be able to just do that. And something is still off. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one's working fine. Let's see, DM rolled 3 times. It's recording way more than that. It's recording 5. So let's see what's up here. DM didn't roll a 1. That's odd. Let's see. Count if D20 input. So we're counting CC, which is correct because that's the DM's rolls. And then it equals a 2. Oh, it's right here. Okay. That could be an issue. So other ones doesn't actually come up because DM is like that. Interesting. Wouldn't have thought about that. So we'll just do our C, I guess 7 now. C7 to C10,000. There we go. And we'll go down. And we still got an issue. Let's see where it is. So player 1 has... Did I do something wrong here? Yes, I did. Let's see, we didn't actually lock this in at all properly. Okay, now we've actually finally got this working properly. And total. Let's again get rid of that. Oops. No border. I guess we'll call it roll. Makes sense. Got our center. Put that in a nice grid. Side border. Total. Could right align that. Probably should have done this first. It's already bolded and gray. Okay. So I should probably do this instead. That way you can change it if you want. And then it's linked there instead. I think that makes a little more sense. Because then if we change this to, say, C, obviously everything goes away, but at least you won't have to update this separately. So just a little nicety there, I think. So that'll be fine. We don't need to do that for DM, but we will. Just in case, for whatever reason, they don't want to call them DM or something. This doesn't even count based off that anyway, so that one really isn't that big of a deal. But if we're doing that, might as well do it here as well. Okay, so we've got that all worked out. Rolls are calculating properly. So we can go ahead and leave that. Let's see. I have my win-loss ratio as well. Probably want to have that on here. So we'll do a count on this for now. Oh, we do have to do the rest of this stuff too. But we'll do the win-loss because I just thought about it now instead. So let's see here. We'll just do... I don't know. Outcome, of course. Don't know how many times I'm gonna reference. Shoot. Come on. I'm not doing that right. Not even close. There we go. Okay, that's proper. Because we don't really, again, we don't really need this for the DM because we can just do the opposite total. So this will be just another count formula. Count? Yeah, count. If our range is going to be our H range, and it's going to be H range for all of this. And our criteria is this. And we don't want the A to move, but we do want the rest of it too. So we've got one there. We can drag this across. That's not the case because we got to do count ifs. Good catch, me. But we can just check it here. Outcome. That's a bit silly. There we go. And as before, we don't want the A moving, so we'll go ahead and put that there. Okay. It's a little better. That is working properly. We just need it to be for our actual players. So criteria range 2 is going to be our favorite AA. Not here though. Over there. Comma. Here. And we don't want 24 to change. And everything should be locked properly, except for this. We have to lock that. Okay, so these should be zeros. And drag down. Let's see. Player 2 got a lose, which is correct. Drag that down. Tie. And we have a tie here too. Is that even correct? No. I shouldn't be tying. Oh. Forgot that was based off of that. Okay. And I want this not to produce a 0% if it doesn't actually matter. So we're going to do what? I could just conditional formatting. That might be easier. Just conditional format G. Formatting. equal to 0%. Shoot, it still kind of finds those. It's always a bit annoying. I can just take out the formatting for that one. And we'll do our custom format. Okay, and we'll go ahead and change it to white. And our fill. No color. And I think that should do it. Okay. I mean, realistically, player 3 will have roles pretty quickly in there, so it's not that big of a deal, all things considered. It always just makes the conditional formatting rule look annoying, because you got this, and it just looks so nice like that, instead of seeing like G7 to whatever the last row in Excel is. I don't particularly like looking at that. I just like when it's nice and clean. I don't know if it really affects how it runs if you have it in like weird amounts. But we got that, so we can go ahead and drag this down to, I don't know, what were we saying, 10,000? This will take a bit. I wonder if there's a better way to do this. I can say go and highlight all the way down to row 10,000. Okay, there we go. We've got that done. And now we've got a huge cursor bar, but that's okay. We should be able to just double click everything down now if we really want to. Okay, I'm going to be right back. So we're going to do something like this. Merge it all. Make it size 72. Oh, BRB. Value error. Okay, be right back. Alright, sorry about that. Go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to it. We're going almost at an hour here, so we'll go ahead and finish this up. We're pretty much done anyway. We've just got a few more stats to take care of. So we've got our outcomes. I'm going to put another gray border there. Okay. That's looking fine. And of course, with all this stuff, it's very easy to just add another player. Should probably put the DM at the start because of that. So we should be able to just... There we go. I think totals is fine. I mean, if you're using this, it's not that hard to just insert a cell, drag over. I think that would work, right? We insert a cell. Okay, it's a little bit of a frustration, but not super hard to add things in. So we'll just keep it as is for now. We won't worry about this stuff yet for DMs. Okay. Do we want to have our death stat recorded over here? We do have it up here, so if we do need to pull information, we can just pull it right here and not really worry about it because we already made a table for it. Now, something that would be kind of interesting, though, is to have this be able to have separate stats just for today's rolls, or today's set, or one session. That way, maybe you could see that right here. So this would be the overall stats, and this would be this session's stats. Because again, it's always fun to just sort of see it. Oh, you know what I forgot? I wanted averages. So you could actually use this as a way to determine total averages. It would be pretty easy, I think, right? Because we would say, what would it be? It would be equals this divided by total rolls, I think. I should probably lock this in. And this one. This one, we want it to stay right. No, we don't. We want that one to move. Well, if we move it down. Right, we want it to stay there? No, we want to be able to drag it down. I'm going insane. I've done this before. We want it to move down. Right, no, I'm just silly. Okay, so 50% of our rolls have been 15. Okay, so that's fine. So we do want those kind of statistics. Let's see, but how do we want to show that? Might be better to have them embedded in each area. So this would be do equals. No. We'll just have it all come from the same place. Ampersand space %. Do that. Again, just so it easily sort of changes. We'll go ahead and shove that in here. Okay, you can't really drag that across now, though. But it is a bit more obvious, in a way, what's going on. To have it right next to it instead of putting it in a separate area. But, I mean, it's not super necessary to be there. Could definitely get away with having this somewhere else. I think I overwrote P2 stats. Yeah, that might be kind of a hassle to have it inside the same area. So we'll do that. Let's do the P1 percentage thing. But we'll just move it over 1 or 2. We'll go ahead and grab our roll number. Do that. And we can just drag that over a few times. 2, 3, 4. And we can put the DM in this one. Okay. And we'll go ahead and get that centered. That's fine. And we drag it over. Shouldn't be div erroring. What's happening? Just 0 divided by 0, but it didn't pop up there. Divided by 22. Because it's the only one with a 0. Okay. We can make that a little bit better and do like an if error. Doesn't sort of panic on us. Rather, it just looks nicer. Error. And we'll just do standard, just nothing. Don't show us anything. You get a nice error there. Of course, once we get exactly one stat, you know, it's going to remove the div error for everything. And of course, all of this adds up to 1. Did not need to do it that way, nor did it work out. Okay, and got our percentages. When it comes to percentages, I always feel like having the 2 decimal places is just a little bit better. Doesn't particularly make it too big of a difference, but I feel like seeing that it's not just 33, but it's 33.33, I don't know. Percentages, I feel like you just want to do that. Though, with like numbers like this, just having a whole number I think is okay, especially because you can't roll half a die. And people can get pretty picky about percentages. Okay, that looks all right. Okay, so we've got our percentages. We'll go ahead and get the line in there, just so it looks a little bit better. We've got our roles, we've got our outcome, and we've got our stats here, so that's fine. Everything goes to 10,000. This is easily editable. I could make this a drop-down menu, but again, it would be one of those ones you have to go ahead and drag it all the way down, and that would just be kind of annoying. So we'll go ahead and leave it as it is, since all of this just sort of auto-populates itself, and all these outcomes will change. I think that's fine for now. I mean, if you mess it up here, you know, you mess it up there, and you can fix it later if you really want to. And these will count properly. Doesn't account for those. Those are still fine. I guess the last thing we got to do is just this thing. Again, I don't really know if this is necessary. I don't know if this would be like helpful and sort of catching cheating or something. Actually, one thing that I was thinking about was that if you were sort of wanting to know, it's like how many, so like, let me see, how do I put this? Okay, so this right here, win-loss. Winning and losing, let's say a roll against the DM. So we'll take this one. I think this is a good one because let's say we roll a 20, DM rolls a 10. But this wasn't like a damage dealt or a damage taken scenario or anything like that. All this was a roll to persuade some farmer to, I don't know, give us some crops or something. Like something not that particularly important. You know, DM could, in a sense, say, well, whatever, that one doesn't matter, so I'm just going to let you win, in a sense. But let's say, you know, we get these like damage rolls, and you roll like a 17 and DM just like nat 20s. I mean, that's kind of annoying. when that happens, because you're thinking like 17, that's a good roll, and then they just nat 20 all the time. And so you might want to see the percentage of times that the DM wins in comparison to when like something important like death, damage is actually happening, instead of just say like a blank comparison where a roll of like a charisma check, even though a charisma check could be kind of important, rather like a non-issue sort of setting versus an important setting where something like really critical happens. It could cause kind of a big difference there. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. Again, we're probably not going to do too much. I think an hour is a pretty good amount of time, especially when nobody's here. I don't really want to go too far into this stuff. Again, a lot of this is supposed to be more of like a community idea, so that, well, it's a community working on these things and going through these questions, instead of just me looking at this and building something that works just for me and not for anybody else. And that's kind of part of the reason why I want to break some of this stuff up into multiple streams, just in case anybody actually does decide to join in. I'm thinking I'm going to try and quote unquote market it a little bit to some areas where maybe they'd be willing to let me say, hey, I'm doing a stream, and maybe you want to join in and help out with whatever it is that I'm working on at the moment. So we won't go too much longer here. I think we'll go ahead and get the percent difference, or you know what, actually, I think we're going to go ahead and end on making some graphs, just because graphs are fun, and I hardly ever get to use graphs. So we'll just call this the, I don't know, tracker or something. Tracker, we can change it later. We have our input, we have our tracker, and then graphs. We could actually have a graph here, now that I think about it. Might look okay. Let me go ahead and, I think it's Excel 2. Yeah, we'll go ahead and turn off Excel 2. Sorry, I made it full screen for me, which is too big screen for you all. There we go. That looks fine. Okay, so let's see. We'll go ahead and insert a graph based on damage. So we'll want our players and damage dealt. And we'll insert maybe like a pie chart. Yeah, I like that. Can we make that bigger? I feel like the title there is like way too big. Say damage dealt. Like we can make that bigger. Like there's a lot of white space here in this graph. Can I like zoom in? No. I don't work with graphs all that much. Maybe a different style. Would I have like a bigger graph? I think the colors are fine. Kind of like that one. I'm gonna do this. Let's see, maybe it's style. No. Like the actual graph itself. I can turn it. That's cool. Can we get rid of that? Let's see. Here we go. Size, huh? Okay, never mind. No, we want 0. Okay, no. Fill? Don't know why it would be here. that make it any bigger? No. Okay, so we can kind of do that. And then, can we like copy, paste this graph? No. Why can't I just make it bigger? It's very annoying. Percentages. Ooh, you know what? That's a little bigger. Puts everything out of order though. And then we don't have the title there. Oh, aggravating. Don't know what these do. Okay, well we have damage dealt. It's not at all on like a nice setting there. That would always tick me off. It wasn't just like lined up to something. So 3 cells, I think that's okay. And we'll do another one for our damage taken. We'll just do another pie graph. Okay, and we'll make it small. And we'll do again the 3 wide here. I think that looks alright. And then we'll try to get the same sort of style. So we can see P2 is actually taking more, and the colors actually match up here, which is good, so that there's a somewhat easy comparison there. This would be damage dealt, this would be damage taken. And as we scroll down, we can still see that. We can say P1, damage taken 500. Okay, that works out. I do like that. I think it's cool that they update like that on the fly rather than not at all. I do not work with graphs, so I find all of this very novel. Let's see. And we could do a death one as well here in the last 3. Not that it's particularly important. I think a pie graph, at least percentage-wise, is a little bit nicer than total damage, sort of like on a bar graph, because you can kind of see like your role in the group. It can be pretty disheartening, of course, to see that, at least for me, when I see that I do no damage at all and I take all the damage. I mean, I'm a tank, and so that's kind of my role, but it does make me a bit sad sometimes because I like to do all the damage. I kind of just want the best of all worlds whenever I play D&D or anything. So we'll go ahead and do the same here, and we'll go ahead and insert probably like a bar chart, I think. That's a histogram. Let's see. It doesn't need to be stacked because we don't need to see too many things here. I didn't need to move that. Wonder how that's going to look. Let's see. So we're going to Q. Maybe we can find a style that works with that. So we'll say, let's see, 2, 3, 1. Oops. Why isn't that popping up? Let's see. Let's look at our formats here. Because clearly we have more than a few deaths going on. Only puts, what is it, P2? Did I pick the wrong chart type or something? Let's go ahead and delete that. Let's put something in for P3 as well here. I'll just say 5. And does anybody not have a death now? Okay, so at least we have some numbers to work with. That'll make it a bit easier to see what's going on here. And we'll go back to inserting. We'll go see what the recommended one are. See, there it is. I think that's fine. Go ahead and do something like that. Wish the colors were different. We can probably get the colors to match somehow. I don't know how I did that on that one. Let's see. Maybe I can just sort of click this, because this is just a bar chart. It should just work. You know, I guess it doesn't have to be the same color, or it doesn't have to be a different color for columns, because it actually just shows you. Now, was this the problem? No, it wasn't actually a size issue. So we'll go ahead and move that here. It looks like 4 players might be sort of the max size for this. That's a cute little graph, I think. I think it looks nice. So I think taking up 3 spots here. So we have our damage dealt, our damage taken, and our deaths. And we'll put it all in caps, so it looks all menacing. We can make it red. We can do a lot of things with that. You can insert little custom backgrounds and whatnot. We probably want the same style there. Let's see, do we have something that looks similar to that? That sort of layout, the background. Probably somewhere in here, I'd imagine. Well, that looks kind of cool. Looks like blueprints. Ooh, I kind of like that. We made that red. Is that it for styles? Looks like it. Guess I could probably change some. I think I'm gonna do this. I like the color of that, and I like that it glows. I think that's kind of neat. So let's see. Color, right? We can change that to like red. I don't know what I changed to red there. So we're going to Control Z that because I don't know what I did. What, I see a little sliver of red there on it. Let's see. So nothing really. Oh, there we go. It's changing the lines. Interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll make it like a gray. And then how do we edit the bars? There we go. Make them red. Wait, with the fill red. Not just the borders. Solid fill. Red. Because it's bad. There we go. That looks alright. Okay. So now we have everything sitting there right at the top. We have all of our main super important graphs. Let's see. What else could be kind of fun? Ooh, you know what? If we could have like for a critical failure as well. Or I think that's what it's called when there's a 20 and then a 1. I think it's called critical failure. Because I think I think it's just 1, but doing that, I know there's a special name for it when, I mean, you really mess up. But I can't remember what it's called at the moment. That'd be kind of a nice one. I could probably just rig that in the outcomes. Or just have a separate area for it since it's so special. But I think I'm happy with this. Still haven't really got to this. I think this is probably something that's not super important. It just adds another graph to it. But I think, at least on this page, I'm happy with the sort of summarized statistics that will update very slowly and just kind of show what's going on. It would be nice to change that, but actually I'd probably change the glow there, huh? What was it? I think, what is it? How did I get there? Chart design? Let's see, maybe it's this button. No. I want to add that little glowy effect that it has in the background. Double click. Double click. Okay. Let's see. I think I saw it somewhere on here. Where is that glow setting. Here we go. Glow red. No, what about black? Ooh, that looks kind of nice. Can make these like really fat. Oh, that would have. Oh, there we go. Really skinny. What are those overlaps? We're at -40. Not sure what that changed. We'll just put it back to -40 because I can't tell what happened there. Okay. Not sure what that means. I'm kind of okay with 3D graphs. Always kind of just like, I don't really think it adds all that much. Ooh, negative. I wonder, like rezzing someone, that could be counted as a negative death. Not really. It's more just a res. Maybe a heal graph would be kind of nice too. I hardly ever even think about healing, but that might be something else. If you're a healer, you're not doing damage, and hopefully you're not taking that much damage, but you are healing damage. So that would be good. Never thought about that stat. But it would probably just be specific to one person, unless you count like healing salves or potions or something like that. But at that point, you're just kind of complicating the whole thing to record all this extra information. Which, I mean, that's part of the fun here, I think. So we could actually change this up a little bit so that instead of having like a column for each of these, we could do something like this, where it's like P1 and then what the stat is. I know this is a roll. I would probably still have the rolls here, but here it would be not stat, but kind of like what's going on. So, it's damage. Ooh, shoot. Whoops. This should be size 11. So like damage, maybe that's like D, and then it does that sort of check. Or, that could be something. So, okay, it's a charisma roll, or it's dex roll. Getting a little bit annoying if I like to have one character inputs, but that actually might be kind of interesting to know what it is. You know what? Maybe we could make a column here that is toggleable, so you could just hide it, so you don't actually need it there. But like if you don't feel like recording it, but it's still there. If you want to go down to this level, just say track all of your charisma rolls, your I don't know what you would call them, just the different types of rolls. That might be something that would be interesting if you care to be that detailed about it, because then you get really specific about what you want to compare. And of course still have our sort of summarized totals. You'd still have the win-loss summary, but you could see the summary and then the detail of that. So that could be kind of interesting. And not making it sort of contingent, like it's not necessary to fill out, might make it relatively helpful, because you could still have like damage dealt based on a charisma roll. And so we could even take it into more specific than that, as long as the column is there. And then if you don't fill it out, you don't fill it out. The assumption is maybe you're just fighting or something. But that might be something just to add in, just to have, because it would be nice. So this would be something like, I don't know what you call them, checks? Like check type, I think. Check type. And then we'd have to figure out what we want for each of them. So like charisma, dex, int, strength. I think strength is str. Let's see. Charisma, dex, int, strength, intelligence, int, intelligence. Now, the only reason I do that is just so that Excel will autofill it instead of waiting for you to do another number, because int, well, that's what int is. Shoot, no, wisdom, that's what it is. It's wisdom. Is that all of them? I don't think there's luck, because that's something you add on. I can just pull up a character sheet, I think, somewhere. Let's see, we'll call them like DnD stats. Let's see, strength, dex, constitution. Did I put that one on here? Did not. Oh, but that's like 2 C's. Do like con. With a K, it'd be a little confusing. Like CO, COT. It's also the only one that's 4 letters. It's a little annoying, but I think that would be okay because it's not too hard. Excel will autofill charisma after you do the IH if you really want to. It'll autofill after you do the O, so it's not too much extra work. You can't really do it with one hand. Yeah, well, you still have to get to the I, so you'd still probably do 2 hands there for typing it. But the check might be kind of fun. And again, it's not something you'd have to fill out. So I think that might be something I'll leave for next time. Even though it's not too difficult to sort of implement, we are kind of going on for quite a bit here. But I think that'll be our part 3. I was thinking I was going to finish this in 2 parts, just get to the graphs. But I think having this and maybe making separate graphs for each player and seeing all the different stats for them would be something just fun. And again, it's not necessary. So, and I think that's the part that's nice. You only need to input a little bit here. I mean, heck, realistically, all you really need is this role category. And I mean, if you wanted to, you can make the DM a player and just have them have their own separate roles. So it doesn't even need to be against the DM. So that's, I think, part of the value that comes from filling something out like this is that it's just easy to fill out. And you can really just work it to your sort of situation. So I think we're going to go ahead and leave it there for today. I guess if you end up watching this video and you actually stuck to the end, thank you. I'll be trying to do more streams, probably once a week, I think. So it'll be a little while before we get to the next one, since it'll be on next Saturday. Just because I do have work in the middle of the week, and I like to save my hands from all that typing. Like, in a sense, I don't want to work and then come home and type more. And just it's too much on my hands. So I'm just saving it for the weekends like this, where I can kind of pace myself a little bit better. So yeah, I think that's it. I'll figure out intros and exits and title cards, hopefully, by the time we get to the next one, so that some of this looks a little bit nicer. And maybe I'll go ahead and start marketing myself a little bit, maybe on Twitter or something. I already have a Twitter, so, you know, we'll see. And if the volume sucks ass, I apologize. I'm still kind of working on that, because I'm looking at the little mic thing and it's going all the way up. And this is a pretty terrible intro. But I think, again, we'll go ahead and end it here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time if you decide to show up. Okay, bye.